Hi, my name is Kerrigan, and today I'm going to be talking about Poland and their Christmas traditions and food culture. The reason I decided to pick Poland for my project is because my grandparents had close friends that were Polish, and so we ate a lot of Polish dishes growing up. And I wanted to take the opportunity to explore more of the Polish culture and their food. So, the geography of Poland. Poland is located in Central Europe and it has a varied landscape spanning from plains, mountains, and a coastline on the Baltic Sea. Poland experiences distinct seasons with a very harsh winter that make hearty vegetables such as beets and cabbage an integral part of their cuisine. The history of Poland. Poland went through a series of three different territorial divides known as partitions by Prussia, Russia, Germany, and Austria. These occupying powers led to regional differences in their culinary tradition. World War II also impacted Poland, which resulted in food scarcity, displacement, and forced them to kind of change their culinary traditions and lean to more simple, frugal recipes while they were rationing food. The communist era also had an effect on food for Poland because of the food distribution being controlled by the state. They used more food preservation techniques such as pickling and smoking in order to extend the shelf life of their food. The history of Christmas and Poland. Christianity was introduced to Poland in the 10th century. The holiday of Christmas blends Christian customs with pagan practices. The season starts with something known as Advent, which is a period of 4 weeks of preparation and anticipation leading up to Christmas. In this time, Advent calendar and wreaths are commonly used to mark the days until Christmas. Polish people do something known as midnight mass, which is when they attend a church and do a joyful celebration of singing hymns and carols. This usually happens after their Christmas Eve supper or early on Christmas Day. Christmas carols are a really important part of the Christmas celebration for the Poles. Singing Christmas carols is an integral part, and they're known as something called koledy, and many of these carols have a deep religious meaning and tell the story of nativity. So, kind of the main aspect of Polish Christmas is the Christmas Eve supper known as Wigilia. And after that, the day after Christmas, December 26th, they celebrate something known as St. Stephen's Day, which is another opportunity for them to meet with family members and friends and celebrate Christmas. So for the Poles, Christmas is really kind of a long event, 4 to 5 weeks, before Christmas, and then they celebrate after Christmas. So now we're going to talk about Wigilia. Wigilia is the meatless Christmas Eve supper. And it's traditionally meatless because it's meant to be fasting in the anticipation of the birth of Jesus. This meal is typically held in the late afternoon or early evening of December 24th, Christmas Eve. Setting the Wigilia table is an essential aspect of this celebration. It is customary to cover the table with a white tablecloth, often symbolizing purity, and to place hay underneath the tablecloth. Now, the hay represents the manger where Jesus was born. A candle is also lit to represent the Star of Bethlehem, which is said to guide the way for the birth of Jesus. A ritual known as sharing a platek is performed before eating the dinner. And what happens is you have this flour wafer that you go around and you have a family member and friends break off a piece of your wafer and you break off a piece of their wafer. And you share kind of exchanges, wishes, blessings, and forgiveness for things that happened during the year so that you can start off on a new clean slate for the year and everyone starts on good terms. It's customary for Wajila to leave an empty place left at a table. This is kind of a staple thing that happens, and this is in case, a friend, family member, or a stranger stops by so that they can join in on the dinner. So it's really about kind of welcoming the community, welcoming everyone, and having a seat at the table and really sharing this meal. So something really interesting about Wajila is they do exactly 12 dishes. And each dish is meant to represent a month of the year. And you're supposed to eat every single dish, or at least try every dish, so that you're able to come into the new year with good fortune by kind of partaking in each month, so to say. And the gift exchange in Polish culture for Christmas happens after the Wajila meal. So the dishes of Wajila. So there can be a lot of variance depending on what they eat, because as previously mentioned, there's a lot of regional differences depending on who occupied that area back a while ago. So things such as barzik, which is a beetroot soup, is one of the staples in all regions. And it's made from raw beets that were fermented and placed into pre-boiled water for 4 days, and it gives it a very sour flavor profile. And it's often served with dumplings called uzuka, which are filled with mushrooms, and they're supposed to be like little ears. And the deep red color of the beet soup is supposed to symbolize good fortune and prosperity. Now, another soup that is eaten is mushroom soup, and it's made from dried mushrooms, and it has thin noodles in it, and also pierogies. So I used to grow up eating a lot of pierogies. It's one of the most recognizable Polish dishes, and what it is dumplings filled with various ingredients. I always had it with potatoes, but it can have sauerkraut, mushrooms, cheese, and in some regions, it actually can have sweet fillings like fruit or poppy seeds. And the pierogies are meant to represent abundance, and they're a staple in Polish cuisine. So, golonki, cabbage stuffed with grains and minced meat with a tomato or mushroom sauce. Now, this is a comfort food that is eaten all year round, but normally so on Wajila, since it's meatless, instead of having the meat, it's stuffed with grains like buckwheat, barley, rice, and mushrooms. So, for kind of the main entrees, it's a pescatarian meal. So they eat fish, and carp is the main fish that is mostly eaten, and it is served in various preparations such as fried, baked, and with different sauces. So sometimes it's also espek, which is when it's made, the fish is made into a jelly and it's set into a mold. And they also eat herring, which is pickled or marinated. So the first picture here on the left is the espek, which is the jellied carp. And then the second picture is the herring, which you can see is pickled. And then the bottom picture is the fried or baked carp. And the reason for eating fish is it represents Christ, and it is a symbol of fertility and abundance. So for the desserts of Wajila, so they eat mekawik, which is a poppy seed roll, and it's supposed to represent wealth, and it is associated with sweetness and joy. It is a yeast-based roll filled with a mixture of ground poppy seed, honey, dried fruit, and nuts. And it's the first picture on the upper left right here. And then when you go over, the piernik is a gingerbread, and that's a picture on the right. And also they do eat a lot of gingerbread cookies as well. I just decided to show the gingerbread loaf. And when they do the gingerbread cookies, they do a lot of festive figures and they decorate them with icings, and that's kind of something you do with the kids. And so then the last kind of dessert that's commonly served is kuta, which is a wheat berry pudding, and it's made with boiled wheat berries, honey, dried fruit, and it's topped with nuts, creating a sweet and hearty dessert. So for Christmas Day dishes, what wasn't previously mentioned was braised sauerkraut. That's kind of a big thing, is sauerkraut in Poland. And they eat something called bigos, which is hunter's stew. And it's a hearty dish made with the sauerkraut and various types of meat, such as pork, beef, and sausage. Also mushrooms. I've seen it with white beans. And it's cooked for an extended period of time to really meld together the flavors. And here are my references. In conclusion, Christmas is a really important, vital opportunity for the Poles to come together and share friendship, family, and start a clean slate for the new year. Thank you guys so much.